Lee, I am so excited to hear more about OpticAware and how it will help children
Mhm.
overcome some of the eye pressing behaviors that they may have. So, Lee, tell us a little bit about OpticAware.
Well, Melissa, thank you for the opportunity to speak with you today and to share information about this newly launched product of the American Printing House for the Blind called OpticAware. This is OpticAware. This is the OpticAware band, and it is really a behavior modification tool. And what the purpose of OpticAware is to alert mostly children, but it could be worn by someone of any age who engages in eye pressing behavior to alert them to the fact that they are eye pressing, and hopefully in preparation and collaboration with the app of OpticAware, learn more about what triggers them to eye press in the first place so that they can modify their behavior over a period of time to greatly reduce or eliminate eye pressing altogether. And so OpticAware is the OpticAware band that what you wear on your wrist, and connecting that with an iOS app on your phone or iPad that tracks the information of how often you eye press, when you eye press, so that you can use that data to make better decisions and hopefully over time again curb your eye pressing behavior.
Wonderful. You keep mentioning eye pressing. And so, I
Mhm.
guess some of those who are joining may be interested as to what is the negative or why would we want to change that behavior and how it impacts a person over time.
Sometimes children, especially, it usually begins in early age, who are blind or who have low vision because of the lack of visual stimulation will press their eyes. Some of them poke with their fingers, some use one hand, some use the other, some use both, some use their thumbs. They can press in many different ways, but basically it is the pressing or poking of the eyeball or the orbital bone around the eye or the eye socket to a point where it can cause damage to the eye.
And I can see as a parent why that would be very important that we want to keep our children's eye healthy and as, intact as we can. You kind
Absolutely.
you mentioned the band as well as an iPad or a phone. So how does Optic Aware
Mhm.
really work with the child or the individual?
When a person decides that they want to begin using the OpticAware band, they will purchase the band. The band is available from APH for $199. The app that you download from the App Store is 100% free. You download that to your iOS device, iPad or iPhone, and you set up your band through the app. And I'll bring the app up very quickly. And it's a very simple app. At the bottom, there are three tabs. The first tab is your information and the data that it collects. The second button at the bottom, the second tab, is to set up your band. When you set the band up, you can set it up in a few different ways. For example, you can you can set the strength of the vibration. If your student is kind of rambunctious and has a lot going on and it's hard to get their attention, you may want to set the band to vibrate for longer periods of time and more vibrations in a row. So you may set it for like four vibrations that would vibrate very heavily. Some people may not need that, and they may need two vibrations that vibrate much lighter. You can set that. You can set the um, sensitivity of the band. What happens is the band looks for the algorithm of pressing to the eye and holding in that place. So, like right now, my optic aware band is vibrating because I'm in the eye pressing position. When you lower your hand and raise the hand again, it will vibrate. And so what that is, it is completely silent. So your student will not be called out in the classroom. No one will know it's happening. And it's a very discreet looking band. It looks like an iFit or an iWatch, something like that. There's no screen. There's nothing on it to really see as far as needing good vision to look at or read. It is a silicone band, and the band itself holds the module. The module pops out for charging, and what you would do is you would put this on in the morning when you wake up and have it charge overnight. You would wear the band throughout the day, and then when you go to bed, take it off and lay it to the side, let it charge, so you'll be fully charged for the next day. There's no on or off switch. If the band is charged, it is on and collecting data. And so the app does not need to be near the phone, or the device does not need to be near the band to collect the data. If it is, it will collect it in real time. If the parent or the teacher needs to go away for the duration of the day, when they come in back range of the band, those will sync together and the data will appear on the phone or the iPad in the app. So whether they're together during the day or apart and then come back, when they do come back in field of each other, that data is synced. And so
Awesome.
that's really the way that that works. The vibration reminds the student what they're doing because sometimes, and most often, the eye pressing can be unconscious. They don't realize they're doing it. They don't realize how hard they're pressing or how long they're actually pressing on their eye. And so it's a reminder that they're doing it to put their hands in a different place. And when you look at the data over time, you likely will see trends. For example, you eye press mostly in the morning. When you're getting up, you're getting ready for school, possibly getting ready for work, and you're nervous, you're getting ready for the day and you eye press. Maybe it's during the middle of the day when you're in math class and you can't figure out fractions. And so that's when you eye press. But what that does is give you a time of day that says, hey, what's going on at that time of day? And let's pinpoint that. And during that time, be more conscious of what you're doing and maybe even have something like a stress ball or a fidget, something that the student can do with their hands instead of pressing their eye. It may even mean taking, hey, I need a 5-minute break and refocus, calm down, get refocused on what you're doing, and go back to the activity. So those are the ways that the band works. It alerts you to what you're doing, reminds you of the dangers and trends that you find. You learn to find something else to fill that time or to fill that action so you're not actually eye pressing.
That's wonderful. Lee, you mentioned quite a bit of ways that you can individualize the vibration, the length of that. So I'm really
Yes.
curious as to who is a good candidate for optic aware in this
Okay.
behavior changing, or even being aware that the behavior is occurring, like you mentioned, at specific times or finding those patterns.
We really have a few criteria that we think make a good candidate for the OpticAware band. Number one, it has to be a student, I would say around the age of 7 or 8, somewhere along in those lines, where they, number one, have to know what they're doing. They have to realize that they're eye pressing. They have to know there are consequences to that behavior. They can actually do real damage to themselves. And number three, they have to want to stop.
That's great. Is there anything else that you would like families or parents to know about optic aware?
Absolutely. The biggest thing to remember about this particular device is this is a tool in your toolkit of helping your child, or even maybe if it's an adult, helping yourself to stop a behavior. It's not going to happen overnight, but it can happen when you recognize what you want to happen, you realize that there is a problem and you want to stop. And the band itself is not magic. What it does, it alerts you to what you're doing. And really, I think the gravy or the golden part is actually in the app because that gives you the information that you need to say, hey, when am I doing this? What is my trigger? What is the underlying cause of why I particularly eye press? For me, it may be one reason that I eye press, and for somebody else, they may have a different trigger that is completely different. So recognizing your trends, what triggers you, and why you're doing it to get to the underlying cause is really the root of the modification behavior. So pairing the two and using the information is really what's going to make the app successful for the person.
Lee, this has been really informative, and I can see it benefiting a lot of students, a lot of children, a lot of individuals. And again, the power of the data and understanding, like you said, the triggers and the
Mhm.
patterns definitely will support helping a student or a child make those decisions and change their behavior.